Peeps, we are back with some exciting news from Busch Gardens Williamsburg. Over the past week, they have announced new shows and Terror-Tories coming to this year's Howl-O-Scream event. Now, every year we do a Howl-O-Scream guide where we share everything new, returning, and everything to do at Busch Gardens Howl-O-Scream event, and so we'll be sharing that when they finish all their announcements. But because of some of the exciting stuff that they've been talking about and that they've been announcing, we wanted to get with you today to talk about those exciting things. So before we dig into the really exciting news, I want to talk a little bit about the shows. First of all, Phantoms of the Fest House will not be returning this year. Instead, what we'll get is we'll get Skeletons in Your Closet. Skeletons in Your Closet will take place in the Fest House. It'll be an indoor show. The Skeletons have been featured at Howl-O-Scream before, but they're moving them indoors, they're moving them into the Fest House, and they'll be taking over with an all-new show in the Fest House. Now, what's going to go in Italy, where the Skeletons have previously played and where they've previously had other shows in that outdoor Il Teatro venue? Well, we're going to get Spirit Spellabration. And it took me a second to get that one right. Spellabration. Spirit Spellabration. So this is where the boastful showman Dan Osorio and his trusted assistant Mortista seek to awaken the spirits of his long-dead ancestors and channel their gifts to dazzle the world and claim the spotlight he's always craved. But he can't do it alone. He'll need the help of three special guests to summon his talents. So, obviously we have a little bit of what the show is about. Don't know if it's going to be more of a song, and dance show. They featured that kind of stuff in that theater before. So I would imagine this isn't just a theatrical performance. I think we'll probably see some type of musical aspect to this show as well. And we do have two returning shows. Monster Stomp on Ripper Row is coming back to the Globe Theater. Obviously, that show is iconic. It's kind of become a mainstay of Howl-O-Scream, especially because Ripper Row in that England area of the park has been featured. It's, the way you enter the park, you enter through Ripper Row. And that's kind of, how we have gotten used to coming into Howl-O-Scream, when you enter through the front of the park. So Monster Up on Ripper Row, always a great show, always excited to see that return. That's actually coming back on September 26th. So it won't be there at the start of the event. It usually starts later in the event, and that's true this year as well. And to nobody's surprise, Fiends, the Frequel, even though now this year it's just being called Fiends because I guess it's back now, right? Will be back in Ireland. Super popular last year, super popular before that. Fans were really excited to see it return. It's back this year. But let's talk about the big news, because even though the haunted houses have not yet been announced this year, we do have a couple of rumors going around. I think we can certainly expect to see the return of maybe Lost Mines, because that was, that probably still has a little meat on the bone, I guess pun intended, to see that property return. I do think we'll see the return of Monster Manor. I do think we'll see the return of Clowntown, especially if you've been back in that area of the park. Some of that Clowntown stuff is still sitting there. And Monster Manor and Clowntown were new last year. I would not be surprised to see them return. Maybe something will come different for Lost Mines instead of Lost Mines. Hard to say. I do think, based on some screenshots people have seen of some member rewards that have come out from Busch Gardens, Deathwater Bayou Morte is planned on coming back as well. Not confirmed. None of this is confirmed. All just rumors and speculation right now. But right now it does look like Deathwater Bayou will return, which is actually a surprise to me. I did not expect that one to return this year. I think for me, I thought it had already kind of happened and, they were going to cycle out some new property in there. But if screenshots are to be believed, we'll see Deathwater Bayou come back. But the biggest news that I wanted to talk about today is in the Terror-Tory area, or scare zones, but they call them Terror-Tories at Busch Gardens Williamsburg. So we have 6 Terror-Tories this year. Now, 3 of them are returning. And so the returning Terror-Tories will be Stalker Street, which is the Scarecrow-based Terror-Tory in New France. We'll also see the return of Ripper Row, like I mentioned earlier. Monster Stop on Ripper Row is back in the Globe Theater. Of course, Ripper Row would be back in England. And Festival will return to Festa Italia. Festival, always great. I think over the years we've seen less props come out, but the actors are always so great in that area. You know, they tend to have returning actors returning as their characters year over year, and it's always great to see them. In fact, you know, two of my favorites are literally in the image that they used to promote Festival. So I'm looking forward to seeing them again this year. But we have 3 new Terror-Tories this year. Now, in the streets of New France, we're going to get Disgrotesque, which is step into the Disgrotesque, a twisted new territory where demonic glamour meets infernal nightlife. Disco ball eyes gleam from towering skulls as the Mistress of Mayhem presides over a haunting haze of lights, music, and madness. This chaotic, cabaret-inspired fever dream turns the France village into a grotesque celebration you won't soon forget. To clarify, I did say New France earlier, I meant France. This is going to be in France. New France is going to have Stalker Street, so I messed that up, but this is France. Discotheque sounds kind of similar to what Demon Street was previously. Now, Demon Street I liked. I think France over these past few years, at least for me, has suffered a little bit in the territory aspect, in that I don't think that it's had enough props and enough actors to really fill that space. I mean, in that specific area of the park, the walkway tends to be rather wide. And so I think, like last year, I think it was the Bash. So we won't see the Bash return this year. That was an anniversary thing for last year, but we'll see Disgrotesque come this year. I don't know. I hope, actually, if it does take inspiration from Demon Street and we see the return of the giant demon head or the giant skull head, we see some music, we see this character that they're referring to in the announcement, that the Mistress of Mayhem, perhaps some type of, not an icon for the event, but iconic maybe for that territory. I think this could be a good one. But the 2 biggest ones that I wanted to talk about today are, one, in the streets of Germany, we're going to get Wicked Wonderland, where it's a chilling new territory where holiday cheer curdles into festive fear. It's a twisted alpine village, garlands rot, snowmen sneer, and the shadow of Krampus looms large. Nestled in the heart of Germany, it's a wintry nightmare you won't soon escape. Finally, Busch Gardens is doing something with Krampus, and I love it. If you have not listened to my podcast about Howl-O-Scream with Edutainment, which I'll link at the end of this video, and look for this thumbnail right here, I think this is a perfect idea. I've been saying for years Busch Gardens should do something with Krampus. I've been saying they should do something during Christmas Town, and maybe this will be an entry to that. But I think it's perfect that they're doing it during Howl-O-Scream. I think Germany is obviously a great location for it. And Busch Gardens, you have one assignment. If you watch this podcast, we need Krampus photo ops in Santa's workshop, where Santa's workshop normally, has photo opportunities. In Germany, I think they should have a Krampus photo op. It's an opportunity for them to sell Krampus photos, an opportunity for fans to have a nice meet and greet with a cool character. So hopefully they will do some type of Krampus photo op, and I Germany always strong as far as territories. I think they tend to do a lot of props there, a lot of cool theming. We've had like Brothers Grimm themed stuff in that area before, and I think it's a great area for that kind of territory. So I think Wicked Wonderland, definitely, for me, one of the top things I'm looking forward to this year at Howl-O-Scream. But I know another thing we talked about in the podcast with Edutainment is how it would be cool, especially based on some of the promo photos that Busch Gardens has been putting out, if they would have some type of Big Bad Wolf themed scare zone. Ride high on the fact that Big Bad Wolf is back. People are excited. You've got a long walkway to lead to that ride, and you've started promoting Howl-O-Scream using like a Big Bad Wolf, scaring guests. Well, Busch Gardens is listening to our wishes, and they are featuring Bavarian bloodshed. Under the blood moon, something ancient awakens. This once merry Bavarian village has become a hunting ground, where beer hall laughter has been replaced by snarls and screams. Mangled villagers stagger through the fog, some half-human, others fully claimed by the curse. The Big Bad Wolf is no longer a story, it's a nightmare you can't outrun. Perfect. This is perfect. This is exactly what I like to see from Busch Gardens. I like to see contextual Terror-Tories that go with the rides and the land that they're based in. So I think this one, because we've got the Big Bad Wolf, because we've got this whole backstory to that ride, and because fans like myself, longtime fans, miss the werewolves at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, I think Bavarian Bloodshed, super, super exciting. For me, it's probably a toss-up. I don't know which one I'm more excited about. Am I more excited about Krampus, or am I more excited about the Big Bad Wolf territory? I don't know. But what about you? What are you most excited about coming to this year's event? Is it Bavarian Bloodshed? Is it Disc Grotesque? Is it Wicked Wonderland? You tell us. Leave us a comment down below with your thoughts. Would love to get a conversation going. Love to share your thoughts in future discussions with Edutainment and on this channel. Also, while you're down there leaving us a comment, give us a thumbs up on this video. We know you like Howl-O-Scream content, but thumbs up really helps us to know that you want more of it, and it helps with the engagement, you know, all the algorithm type stuff. So give us a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and notification bell, because there's more Howl-O-Scream content coming. In addition to this video, we've got our guide to this year's event. We'll obviously have construction updates, and of course, opening night. We'll be there. Will you? Let us know. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.